Have you tried fixing the over-the-top golf swing? Trying to fix that club path on the downswing to hit straighter drives. You hit the driver, okay, but it always curves off to the right more than you would like, leading to one shot going out of bounds. I've got the fix for you, 3 simple tips. It's not what you think it is. Lots of you are going around this kind of the wrong way. You're giving yourself no hope of getting that club on plane, in the slot, on the way down, and stopping the over-the-top move. But today, I reckon these tips might sort you out for good. Let me show you. So it's frustrating, isn't it? You stand there, you hit a shot, one good one, and then you go and hit one that just curves way off to the right, and then you video your swing, and you see it's this kind of over-the-top action. How do you fix it? Well, you're not going to fix it, in the most cases for golfers, if you try and fix the downswing. You've got to sort out what's inspiring that downswing to happen, and for most golfers, it's the bounce back. Yeah, we've got to stop the bounce back. Remember, if you like the information in this video, hit the like button down below. Really helps the channel. Consider subscribing as well if you want to see more free golf tips. But I also have a weekly newsletter. Subscribe down below, completely free, exclusive tips not seen here on YouTube. Come and join the community. Bounce back is when golfers get the club bouncing back. And generally, they tend to get the club bouncing back in the transition between backswing to downswing, which is not that good, and it tends to bounce back in the direction they're rotating. It also tends to bounce back in a kind of more direct way to the ball. They don't want to bounce back and take forever going on the right path, so taking the longer path, because they feel like they're just going to dump the club in the ground. Now, the bounce back is caused by the fact that the backswing, we create no space. This is so common amongst everyday golfers. We see it day in, day out, where golfers get arm across chest, arms buried. Generally extended wrist causes this, which we'll show you. From here, you can't hit the ball from in here. You have to create space, so then they bounce it back. And that gives you that over-the-top action. So 3 drills, and let's stop the bounce back. And you will get your club on plane, on path, better club directions. You'll hit straighter drives. So tip number 1, we need to try and get you changing the order between backswing and downswing. Lots of golfers want to use their body more laterally, arms quite a lot, which is where they bury. I want you to start feeling like you're using your body much more rotationally, and you're using your arms hardly at all, which would look more like this. So small arm swing, huge body turn. So lead foot starts coming up, hips really over rotate, shoulders over rotate, but my arms are staying out this side of me. So we're changing the order. We're going to try and activate this a lot and take these out. And this will create that width that we're after to get rid of the bounce back. Now, I do this to warm up. I do it with wedges and 9-irons because I'm also a little bounce backy, as in I get buried with my arms. So to get that out of me from the beginning, when I get to a range and I'm warming up, I hit shots with more lofted clubs, same way, really over-rotating body and keeping my arm swing as small as possible. Just changing that order. So I'm going to do it with a driver here, and you can as well, but don't expect to hit good shots this way. You're going to see how small my arm swing is. Oh, well, how big my shoulder turn and body is. You can see the shot, very hard to coordinate. But when I start calming these ideas down to get them more to match up, I find that my stretch is considerably more. So even in your practice swing, you want to think, how small can I make that arm swing? Well, at the same time, stretching those arms away from you and rotating hips and shoulders as much as possible. So you're basically warming this up and trying to cool these down a little bit. And you will start coordinating them more than you think. Like, you'll start hitting some where you think, wow, that feels very different, and I barely felt like I made a backswing. Because for lots of golfers, they can feel how far they turn their arms or move their arms back. They're not so good at feeling how far they turn their body with their arms. Creating this separation, this change of order, is a great way of getting more width, and the more width is what's going to get rid of the bounce back, meaning you'll automatically start hitting like that straighter drives. You won't have to feel like you're doing this or dropping this. It's the stretch that will allow you just to bring that club back down on the path you've been trying to bring it down on and not having any success. So drill number 2 is to do a loft. If you teach enough golfers and you find the ones who tend to really bow lead wrists, they get the lead wrist working this way on the backswing, they tend to get really stuck. They tend to get kind of out here. They're the opposite to the people who get the bounce back over the top. So the bowed wrist golf community actually often struggle more by coming this way. And it's because it's the reverse opposite, meaning the people who tend to get the bounce back, as a general rule, they're extending lead wrist a lot. This allows that arm just to fold back onto their shoulders, and then they get that bounce back, which is the over the top action. So actually getting a grip of loft through lead wrist, turning that loft away, is a great way of getting rid of the bounce back and the over the top. And if you want to practice taking loft off, good way of doing it is by giving yourself a club with loads of loft. So I've got my 58-degree wedge here, and I'm just going to hit like a basic little pitch out in front of me, just any distance. And that one, for this instance, I would be eyeballing it without the machine, but with my launch monitor, I can see that's launching at around 30 degrees. So I'm now going to try and hit some pitch shots where I go back and I really try to flatten lead wrist with lead arm, even start to bow it, twist loft off this wedge, and see what launches I get. So I'm not changing ball position, hand or lean. I'm going to start in the same place. I'm not changing grip. It's dynamic. I'm going to try and rotate that face down to the ground. I'm going to turn my Strixon pad back to that camera as much as possible, and I'm going to hit some pitches out there. And I mean, I can instantly see on the tracer how much lower that is. You will when you practice. That's probably 5 degrees lower launch. That one launched at 25 degrees. Now, when you do these lower launching clubs, if you make a slightly bigger shoulder turn and just let that club go further back, what you're going to notice, and it'd be quite good if you film yourself as you do this, so slightly bigger shoulder turn as I do it, you're going to notice that your arms kind of get stuck out here. You can't really get them in close to you when you do this. It's the extending of the wrist that allows them to kind of bend onto your shoulders, causing that bounce back. So doing this with a few bigger shoulder turns, and feeling that club getting stuck more out this side, and then picking up your driver and applying the same ideas to this club, same grip, same ball position, but really trying to turn the loft up as much as possible, flatten that lead wrist to even bow it, you're going to notice the same thing. You just get stuck. You just create that depth, that width, that space to allow that club to then start dropping on the inside. Now, because I'm quite neutral when I do it, see how low that goes? And it turns to the left. Because I've gone beyond where I need to be, I'm exaggerating it for the camera. But for lots of golfers, getting them to that point is a real win, because they're so used to the extended wrist, open face, buried, low arms, bounce back, kind of high cuts, they hit that low draw and they're like, whoa, never hit a draw like that before. And then the last tip's really simple. You can do this as you hit shots. So I use this one before I hit shots, even when I play. I would do it as a practice swing. Just take the club in your lead hand with a driver, hold right at the top like you would with your lead hand, but trail hand off and behind your back. We want no assistance from the trail hand, and you need to try and get this club up, away and over your shoulder. And the only way you're going to do that is if you really start using your hips and shoulders to turn, and you keep your lead arm and shoulder relatively engaged. Meaning if I just start to extend the wrist, let the shoulder go, or let the elbow go, this club, I mean, it's so hard to push out there for any period of time. It just wants to fall and then bounce back. Now, if you're way stronger than me, which is probably 90% of the people watching this video, you could take 2 clubs. I've got 2 irons here, just an 8-iron and a wedge. Hold them with lead hand. So get the weight increased in this hand. So if you're much stronger in your upper body and you do it with a driver and you think, well, I can't, that doesn't feel like anything. I don't have to move anything. The 2 club idea here, to get this above my shoulder, oh yeah, I have to engage body, and I 100% have to engage wrist, shoulder of lead arm and elbow. If I have any collapsing wrist or elbow, as soon as that club gets over my shoulder, oh, it wants to fall down. Creating that weight, which will allow you to create that space. You'll find when you do this, again, if you can video yourself, if you get 2 clubs, lead hand only, swing up and turn, that club is only going to drop down where you want it to go. You're never, from here, going to go this way. Otherwise, you're going to have to get out the way pretty quick. This is a great way of doing it at home, in the garden, when you want to continue your practice, you can't hit shots. You can still make the difference. Fixing bounce back for golfers is such an easy way to add distance to their drives because it reduces curvature. So they don't have to feel like they're hitting harder or stronger, but they start hitting it further because they reduce the curvature. It's more of a solid contact, less of a glancing blow. Now, if you want to learn how to really increase your distance with the driver, this video here has got all the information you need to start hitting some bombs. Remember, if you like the information in this video, hit the like button down below. Really helps the channel. Consider subscribing as well if you want to see more free golf tips. But I also have a weekly newsletter. Subscribe down below, completely free, exclusive tips not seen here on YouTube. Come and join the community.